Chapter 37, Sand Snake. The first thing Jay noticed when he stepped through the tree was how hot it was. He had been shivering in the damp cavern, but now he was almost sweating. Instead of a wet cave, he was standing on a golden desert plain. Evie followed, but as she crossed the threshold, her knees turned to rubber and she stumbled. Jay caught her and helped her through. Whoa, that poison must still be working, she nodded. I'll be fine in a minute. Carlos followed, blinking at the unexpected light with Mal bringing up the rear. When they were all through, the door slammed with a bang and vanished. Carlos unrolled a new map. This must be the haunted desert, he said. It says the Cobra's cave is somewhere in the dunes of sorrow. Jay looked around. There wasn't much to see, just a whole lot of desert and wave after wave of sand dunes. This must be my territory. It looks a little like what my dad always told me about Agrabah. Although something tells me we won't find any magic lamps, friendly genies, or flying carpets here. Too bad. I'd take any of those over that weird pink thing we just avoided. Any chance the talisman is made of sand? Asked Evie, as she scooped up a handful, letting the grain shift and fall between her fingers, since that's all there is here. Of course it's not made of sand, said Jay. The wind blew across the dunes, howling like a coyote, but underneath its screech was another sound, a deep, slithering hum. There, said Jay, pointing to a wrinkle in the sand. It's moving. The wrinkle headed toward them, and the four of them jumped away as it passed directly underneath their feet. Maybe your talisman is made of sand, said Mal. It's not made of sand, repeated Jay, exasperated now. That's all I see here, said Mal, refusing to let go of the joke. Weren't you listening? Oh, wait, I forgot. You weren't, because you were too busy running after Mad Matty and getting yourself thrown off a bridge, said Jay. Jensen said it was a golden cobra. He watched the movement in the sand as it slithered away. Hold on. Slither? Before he could explain to his friends, Jay ran after the wriggling line. There was only one thing it could be, and when the line popped out of the dunes, he saw the golden cobra rear its ugly head. The snake hissed, showing its forked tongue. It was the same golden color as the apple Evie had picked earlier. I think he's found his talisman, said Carlos, as they ran to keep up with Jay, who was chasing the snake. Jay was fast, but the snake was faster. It slithered across the sand, its golden scales shimmering in the light, while Jay kept stumbling and sinking in the dunes. Jay might be the best runner on the tourney field, but the desert definitely wasn't the ideal location for chasing an evil creature. The cobra crested a ridge, and Jay tried to follow, but when he reached the top, the snake was nowhere to be found. Great, it's gone, said Mal, who, along with Evie and Carlos, had been stumbling along after Jay. What does the map say? It says the golden cobra has a cave, said Carlos. We could check that out, but it doesn't really say where it is. Some map, said Mal, crossing her arms across her chest. They scanned the desert landscape, looking for any sign of the cobra. But it seemed to have disappeared completely. The heat wasn't helping either, and when the wind picked up, it blew sand at them, clouding their vision and biting their skin like little flies. We shouldn't have left for the catacombs before the maps were done, said Mal, crumbling the piece of paper in frustration. We didn't have a choice, said Carlos. And remember, we've got to find the talismans before our parents do. My parent is a lizard trapped in a glass-covered pedestal, said Mal. Maybe, said Carlos. Or your parent is a purple dragon that's been plaguing Camelot. Guys, stop fighting. It's not helping with my poison headache, said Evie, as she massaged her temples. Mal and Carlos apologized, and the four of them continued to look for any sign of the elusive cobra. One good thing about the toxic tree, said Evie. At least it stayed still. There, Jay yelped. I see it. I think that's a cave. He pointed to what looked like a pile of stones in between two dunes in the distance. He ran down the ridge, his friends following behind. They stood in front of the rocks, which were stacked together tightly, but a small gap between two of the larger ones looked like it could be opening into a cave. Wonderful! A cave within a cave. I didn't create this world, said Jay. You guys coming? Hold on. We need to be careful, said Mal. Evie was almost poisoned back at the tree, and who knows what that snake will do. Fine, said Jay. Let's go in, but we all stay together, and said Mal. Agreed? The others nodded, and they entered the cave. Jay was in the lead, his boots sliding on the sandy floor. He pulled the flashlight out of his pocket and hit the switch, but nothing happened. He tapped it again, and it glowed faintly, illuminating the path before them. A few minutes later, they heard that odd howling noise they'd heard when they first entered the desert. Do you think the cobra could make that noise? Evie whispered. I don't know, but I don't really want to find out, Carlos whispered back. It's called the Haunted Desert, said Mal. What do you think it is?